Good morning, students. Welcome back and welcome to the live online classes. Today I am going to continue with chapter 7, the Vedic Age, part 1. Last time I was doing sources of Vedic Age. There are actually two main sources which gives us information about the life of the Vedic people, and these sources were that last time I have explained to you. Okay, these are basically literary sources and number second is Archaeological, archaeological sources. Today I am going to discuss the literary sources. Then after that, archaeological sources. So whenever we are looking at the literary sources, first of all, we have to have a vague idea about the types of Vedic literature. Types of Vedic literature that was, prevalent during that time. Vedic literature. There are broadly two types of Vedic literature. So, types of Vedic literature, there are two types of Vedic literature. Number one is Shruti, Shruti, literature. Now, the word Shruti means, to hear, Shruti means to hear. Means sunnu, and this Shruti literature describes the sacred text, means pavitra, what we call, text, which comprise of Vedas. So Vedas also form in the, belong to the Shruti literature, as well as Brahmanas, which I'll be talking in detail later on, Archaeological, so I'm writing here, Vedas, then Brahmanas, Brahmanas, Brahmanas. I'm not talking about Brahmins, I'm talking about Brahmanas, Then Aranya, Kas, Archaeological, Then Upanishads also belong to the Upanishads, also belong to the Shruti text. These things I'll explain in detail later on, Then, the types of Vedic literature, another one is, Smriti, Smriti, Smriti literature. Now, what does the word Smriti mean? Like the Shruti means to hear, Smriti means to remember. Remember, remember, So, you remember by rote method, by, mugging up. So, which consists of Vedangas, So, I am just dropping the blackboard. Smriti literature, I am writing LIT, has, comprised of Vedangas, Vedanga, Vedanga, Then Shraddhar, Sana, Puranas, Puranas, Puranas. Now Puranas are basically tales of gods and goddesses, Then Itihasa, Itihasa, HASA, Then Upvedas, or Upveda, then Tantras, 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 then Agamas, then Upangas. So, Shruti literature, basically means to hear, whereas Smriti literature basically means to remember. And these, basically, religious texts are basically found in the Smriti literature. In the Smriti literature, you also find the two great epics, okay? Two great epics are found in the Smriti literature. They are basically Mahabharata, M-A-H-A, Maha, B-H-A-R-A-T-A, Bharata, okay? And Ramayana also belongs to the Smriti literature, okay? Today also we listen to the holy book, okay, that is the holy book of the Hindus, that is the Gita, okay, and whenever we are talking about Mahabharata, we listen, we remember, okay. So Smriti literature means to remember, okay. The two great epics Mahabharata and Ramayana are examples of Smriti literature. Mahabharata was written in Sanskrit language, remember that, by sage, okay, by sage, okay. I'm writing here, okay, Vyasa, okay. So, Mahabharata, okay, was written by says Vyasa, and Ramayana was originally written or composed in Sanskrit by Maharishi Valmiki. So, Ramayana was written by Maharishi Valmiki, V-A-L-M-I-K-I, Valmiki, okay. So basically it says Vyasa wrote, okay, Mahabharata, okay, whereas, okay, Ramayana was written by Maharishi Valmiki. Bhagavad Gita also basically belongs to the Smriti literature, okay. Bhagavad, okay, Gita, the holy book of the Hindus, is another text that falls in the category of Smriti literature and was written by sage Vyasa, okay. It deals with the philosophy of life, okay. What is the philosophy of life, okay? Fundamental knowledge, okay, about reality and existence of our life on this earth, okay. So these two, basically Shruti and Smriti literature, are the literary sources that you find in the early Vedic age and the later Vedic age. Remember that. Now, we are doing the literary sources only, okay. The Vedic literature can be classified into two groups. I'm writing only two groups here, okay. The Vedic literature can be divided into two groups, okay. The early Vedic literature, number one. And number two is the later Vedic literature, where you find, okay, examples of both Shruti and Smriti literature in the early Vedic age as well as later Vedic age, okay. So why I'm writing, okay, early Vedic literature? Because this literature was written in the early Vedic age, okay. In the later Vedic, okay, age, this literature was written, okay. So, we are doing the first one, that is the early Vedic literature. Early Vedic, okay, literature. Okay, I'm writing LIT, okay. In the early Vedic literature, okay, but before going to this, I would just want to tell you the four Vedas. There are four Vedas, okay. There are four religious, okay, what we call, okay, literatures, okay, religious literatures, okay, that forms the earliest part of the Vedic literature. Remember that. So, whenever I am talking of the early Vedic literature, okay, the first testament of mankind was Rig Veda. So, the first, okay, written document. The first written document of man was Rig Veda, R-I-Z, Rig Veda. So, I'm talking about the Vedas. There are four forms of Vedas, okay, and they basically forms a part of the early Vedic as well as the later Vedic age. So, what is Rig Veda? The oldest religious textbook, okay, in the world, having 1028, okay, hymns, H-Y-M-N-S, hymns. Now, last time only I told you what are hymns, okay. Hymns are bhajan in praise of God, okay. The Rig Veda gives us valuable information about the life of the people of the early Vedic age. Remember that. This is one of the most important religious, texts which gives us valid information about the people, their occupation, their lifestyle, their economic, social, and religious, what we call, information. So Rig Veda forms the first, Vedic text, So the Rig Veda provides information or knowledge of the life of the people in the early Vedic age, their social, economic, political, as well as religious life. It was composed when the Aryans was living in Sub-Sindhu. So this Rig Veda was composed where? Near a river. Which river? Saraswati river. Because when the Aryans came from the Caspian Sea area, from the foreign country, they came from the northwest. And when they entered India, they first settled down in the land of the seven rivers. This land of the seven rivers was called Sub-Sindhu. S-A-P-T. S-I-N-D-H-U. Sindhu. Last time only I have explained you the sacred seven rivers. So it was composed when the Aryans first settled down in the areas near Sub-Sindhu, the land of the seven rivers, and one of the what we call sage basically composed or wrote this Rig Veda near a river. That sacred river was called Saraswati river. So the second form of literature that we are going to study is later Vedic literature. Later Vedic literature. The Vedic literature which gives us information of the later Vedic period were, Now I am going to tell you which literature gives us valid information of the life of the people of the early Vedic people, And these were basically Sama Veda. Sama Veda. After Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Then Yajur Veda, Y-A-J-U-R, Yajur Veda, then Atharva Veda. Now you can see Rig Veda is the first, second, third, fourth. There are 4 types of Vedas. Remember that. So what is Sama Veda? It is a collection of songs. Songs means Geet, Mostly taken from the Rig Veda, Sung by a special class of priests. Priests are what? Rishis. Priests are called what? P-R-I-E-S-T. Priests are called monks. They are called rishis. They are called maulas in Muslims. In Christians, they are called what? Priests. No? R-I-S-H-I. Rishi. Rishi Munis we call it. No? It is a collection of songs. So Sama Veda is a collection of songs. Sama Veda is a collection of songs. Mostly taken from the Rig Veda, sung by a special class of priests, that is rishis, at the time of some sacrifice. Now, whenever I am talking about sacrifice, it means, an act of slaughtering animals, for religious purposes, or surrendering a possession or belonging, of a person or property, in praise of God. Now, what is Yajur Veda? Now, I come to the Yajur Veda, Yajur Veda is a collection of sacrificial formula. S-A-C-R-I-F-I-C-I-L. Sacrificial formula or formulae, It contains how to, perform sacrifices, And it is connected with sacrifices, So, Yajur Veda deals with sacrificial formulae, Whereas Atharva Veda is a collection of spells and charms and magical, what we call, charms. It is a collection of spell means incantations, and magical charms means supernatural forces against evil spirits. A study of Atharva Veda in detail. So when I am talking about Atharva Veda, it is a collection of spells and magical charms, So when we are studying Atharva Veda, it makes us know that with the passage of time, the Aryans discarded nature worship also and developed the worship of spirits. So they started, worshipping not nature but worshipping spirits of their grandfathers, etc. or forefathers, etc., that religion is called animism. That religion is called animism, which we follow even today. Like we, Nepalese, belong to the tribal class and we basically worship our ancestors. Then this worship is known as animism. Animism, okay? Worship of the spirits, okay? These Vedas, okay, this Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, okay, were composed when the Aryans had settled down in the Gangetic plains. They were not, okay, living in Sub-Sindhu at this time, in the later Vedic age. In the later Vedic age, they have moved from Sub-Sindhu, from land of the seven rivers, they have moved to the Gangetic valley, where you find Ganga, Yamuna river. There they have settled down. And these Vedas were written, okay, this Sama Veda, Atharva Veda and Yajur Veda was written when the Aryans had settled down in the Gangetic valley. Each Veda has two parts. Remember that. Each Veda, I am talking about each Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda as well as Rig Veda has two parts. The Samhita and the Brahmana. So what are the two parts of the Vedas? Two parts. I am going in detail. Two parts of Vedas. They are, okay, basically Samhita is Samhita, okay, Samhita and the Brahmanas, okay, Samhitas and the Brahmanas, Brahma, Brahmana, okay, you can write. Okay. Now, what is Samhita? So, means the mantra. I am talking about the mantra, the incantation, incantation of the text of each of the Vedas is called Samhita. The mantra text of each of the Vedas is called Samhita. Okay, I am coming to the Brahmanas. Okay, when I am doing the branches of Veda. Okay, so after this, okay, Vedas. What are the literary source which gives us information of the life of the people of the early Vedic age are not only the Vedas but also the branches of Vedas, okay? So now after the Vedas of the early Vedic age and the later Vedic age, we are moving on to the later Vedic age branches of Vedas, okay? So I am doing number 2 only, later Vedic literature, okay? Later Vedic literature, okay, where I am doing branches of Vedas, B-R-A-N-C-H-E-S branch, okay, C-H-E-S branches of Vedas. They also falls in the category of later Vedic age, okay. They were written in the later Vedic age. So the first branch we come across is number 1 is the Brahmana, B-R-A-H-M-A-N-A, Brahmana, okay. Brahmanas are short stories or prose, we call it, okay. That basically explains the bhajan, okay, or hymn in the Vedas, okay, and are also classification of Sanskrit texts, okay. So are also classification of Sanskrit texts means group of Sanskrit texts or a class of Sanskrit text, okay, within which each Veda, okay, includes myth. Myth means what? We call it fairy tale, okay, and legend means, okay, what we call, okay, Dantya Katha, okay, and legends means Dantya Katha, okay. So what are Brahmanas? They are basically prose or short stories, okay, which explains the bhajan in the Vedas and also classify, okay, Vedas in the Sanskrit text. Within each Veda, we find myths and legends to explain and instruct, okay, Brahmins. Now, Brahmins are the people who basically learn the Vedas. Today also we use Brahmins. We basically, okay, respect the Brahmins. Why? Because they are versed in this, okay, text. And these Brahmins basically perform rituals, okay. So, Brahmanas is a short story or prose which basically instructs and teach Brahmins how to perform the rituals. Simple answer is that. Number 2 is Aryancals, A-R-A-N-C-A-L, Y-A-K-A-S, Arankas. Now, when I'm coming to the Arankas, number 2 text, branches of text, Arankas. Arankas, according to a book, are called forest books. They are called forest books or text. Okay? Now, in the Arankas, what do you find? Okay, in the forest book, what do you find? You find sacrificial rituals. How to, perform, rituals when we are sacrificing certain kind of animals, etc. Okay, these rituals are explained in the Arankas. Okay, in a symbolic and philosophical way, it is explained. Okay, now in the Upanishads, so Arankas deals with sacrificial rituals. Okay, now we are going for the Upanishads. Now, when I am talking about the Upanishads, there are 108 Upanishads. That is not written in a book, okay? 108 Upanishads. N-I-S-H-A-D, Upanishads. There are 108 Upanishads. Out of 108 Upanishads, 13 are considered the major ones. Out of 108, 13 are major ones. Now, in the Upanishads, okay, the concept of Atma, Atma means what? Soul. In the Upanishad, it is written as A-T-M-A-N, Atman. It is written as Atman, okay. The concept of Atman and Brahman, B-R-A-H-M-A-N, Brahman. So, this is Brahman. Brahman means universe. I am talking about the whole, okay, universe. Atman means Atma. So, in this world, there are many people living, okay, in different parts of the world. We all have souls. We all have Atman. And we are a part of this Brahmand. We are a part of this Brahmand because we belong to the Brahmand. This philosophy is explained in the Upanishads. When we die also, this part, this Atman basically joins the Brahmand. Okay? So, the concept of Atman and Brahman are majorly explained in the Upanishads. It contains philosophical ideas. It gives us knowledge, reality of our life and our existence. We are a part of Brahman, and if we die also, we'll be the part of Brahmand. Brahman means universe. So here it is only written here, Brahman. Brahman means universe. It is also called Brahmand, okay? And Atma means soul, okay? So it contains philosophical ideas, gives us knowledge about reality and existence of the life on the earth, as well as we are a part of the universe. Okay, about the following concept too, like sacrifice. Okay, sacrifice was also explained in the Upanishads, okay, as well as our body and our universe. Are you understanding? So body has got soul, and we are a part of this universe. It is explained in the Upanishads. Now we are doing the archaeological sources. We have finished the literary sources. Now we are doing the archaeological sources. Number 2. Now, last time I have explained to you what are literary source. Anything that is written is called a literary source. It might be in a form of text, it might be in a form of script, or what we call, handwritings, etc. That is called a literary source. But what is an archaeological source? Archaeological sources includes material things. Includes, C-L-U-D-E-S, includes material things. M-A-T-E-R-I-L, material things. Now, such as what? Such as, buildings, houses, pottery, seals, coins, monuments, writings and paintings on the stone or wall. This is known as inscriptions. Tools, jewelry, bones, okay, leftover of the people who have died long ago, okay, and pieces of metal, okay, that was found buried inside the earth, and other artifacts which was found by the archaeologists, okay, and have basically give us information about the people living in the early Vedic age. The available archaeological source of the early Vedic Aryans, okay. So I am talking about the archaeological sources of the early Vedic people or Aryans, 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 okay. I am talking about the archaeological sources of the early Vedic Aryans or people includes tools made of copper and bronze. They used to make instruments or tools or objects, okay, of copper and bronze. Copper and bronze was found by the archaeologists, okay, as well as iron was not known to them. So you can see iron was not known to them. They did not knew about iron, but they knew about copper and bronze. Okay. Now we also find pottery, matkaka bhara, okay, made of mud. Okay. So what kind of pottery was found then? Okay. Painted grey ware pottery, that is the remains of this pottery was found in Punjab as well as Haryana. So what is, okay, painted grey ware? So it is written there, okay, I am writing here, grey ware. Okay. It is an artifact, okay, made of ceramic. Ceramic means mud, okay, which is used for cooking, serving or having food. That is known as pottery, okay. So I finished the early Vedic age, okay, archaeological sources. Now I am moving on to the later Vedic age. I am going on to the later Vedic age. Later Vedic Aryans, okay. So whenever you are studying, please remember that you are studying about early Vedic age as well as later Vedic age, okay. So the archaeological sources of the later Vedic Aryans include tools, okay, that is instruments or objects, or what we call utensils or equipments, okay, made of iron. So they knew about iron. Now you can see here the difference. They did not know about iron in the early Vedic age. They knew about iron in the later Vedic age, okay. And remains of pottery and remains of pottery. It is a known fact they knew about copper and bronze in the early Vedic age only. Therefore, it is not necessary to mention out here. But in the later Vedic age, they also came to know about iron after copper and bronze. And the remains of pottery. So there were 4 types of pottery which was used in the later Vedic age. Number 1 is black and red pottery, that is called redware, okay. Blackware means black pottery, then redware means red pottery, and painted greyware means painted grey pottery was used as, okay, as utensils or bhara bartan, okay, for cooking or serving. From iron they made implements or equipments, okay, or instruments or objects for, okay, doing agriculture, etc. Okay. With this, okay, I have completed the literary sources as well as the archaeological sources. Hope you find this lesson useful. Thank you for listening.